Hello again. So previous was feedback on the form of the writing, and here on the essence of writing, what we should write and what we shouldn't write, like this. So feedback on consider Sims writing, yeah. The stories we tell, it's called, and I want to share with you how to craft a winning personal statement. Personal statements, it's like a story, like an essay, but IELTS essay, don't confuse it with this. It's written a little bit differently. We'll speak about them later. Here we are talking about writing personal statements, writing the stories about you, paragraphs about you, and some other essays. Here I want to highlight that it's important to be a good storyteller, both orally and in a written form, because facts tell and stories sell. Somebody said this. Very good saying, that's why I included here. So, typical personal statements mistakes, yeah? First is telling instead of showing. So maybe here you can say, how can I show in a written form something, yeah? But it's possible. For example, telling your audience what conclusions to make instead of showing them what happened look like this. I'm good at being patient, sensible, confident, empathy, encourage, and so on. So this example is taken from your essay. This is example of telling but not showing, and you just telling audience it means here the person who will read your essay, readers or audience, what conclusions to make, yeah? So you made already conclusions. I am patient, I am sensible, I am empathic, and so on. And that's it, you see. So how we can change this into showing, not telling, yeah? I'll give you some examples. First of all, essays that worked and what made them awesome. These four things can make your essay awesome. First, provocative statements. Second, captivating stories. Captivating, it means interesting. Third, descriptive language. And out of the box responses. So out of the box responses, it means it should be original, not like every people, just generally telling something. Descriptive language, so it's about why do we study synonyms? So synonyms help us to write in descriptive language. And descriptive language is about taste, touch, sight, smell, sound, and some others. Here example of descriptive language. Just in 4 sentences in one paragraph. One person used a lot of descriptive language. You see, the sound was loud and discordant, like a hurricane, high notes and low notes mixing together and an audible mess. It was as if 1,000 booming foghorns were in a shouting match with sirens. Unlike me, this was a little abrasive and loud. I like it. It was completely unexpected and extremely fun to play. You see? So here, loud, discordant, like a hurricane, audible mess, 1,000 booming foghorns, sirens, abrasive. So all of them are examples of descriptive language. So these paragraphs shows us. This paragraph doesn't tell us something. So we call it the author could show us. You see? So how much this descriptive vocabulary words helped us to imagine as a reader. So this is the example of using descriptive language, you see. This is bold, sorry. So secondly, use provocative statements. Yes, I said before. So here, I love cancer. Essay just starts with this statement. Is it provocative? Yes, it's quite provocative because it grabs my attention as a reader. I think, wow, why she loves cancer? Who in this world can love cancer and why? So you see, immediately aroused my interest. So I started reading it further. So this is truly controversial statement. You see, I love cancer. Wow, like this. So in your essay, you could also use some provocative statements. I don't know. For example, I couldn't wash my clothes myself. Or where is mom? I don't have mom here. Like this, you see. And then later you explain and describe how it happens. So first thing, you should grab attention of the reader. Then here another example, also example of finding my voice. So everybody should have own voice in writing. Let's read it together. I was born with a speech impediment that weakened my mouth muscles. My speech was garbled and incomprehensible. Understandably, I grew up quiet. I tried my best to blend in and give the impression I was silent by choice. I joined no clubs in primary school, instead preferring isolation. It took 6 years of tongue twisters and complicated mouth contortions in special education classes for me to produce the 44 sounds of the English language. So you see, also here shows not tells. Why shows? So also from this we can draw what kind of conclusion? That the writer could be a very strong person who strives to achieve her aim because she worked so hard in order to just utter these 44 sounds of English, you see. So here is the example that author didn't tell to the reader that she's strong, that she's passionate, that she's the person who can strive to achieve something. She just showed with the example that she's so, and we make our conclusions by our own. You see? So here, for example, you said it. I am good at being patient. You said, yeah? Sensible, confident, encourage. So these very things you should choose one that is the most important quality that you have. For example, maybe you're good at being patient and that is the most important, and using the strategy of finding your voice, strategy of showing not telling, like this, in one paragraph with examples, with descriptive language, you can show people why you are good at being patient. So, does it make sense to you? I think it's understandable now. Another example also good example, called in a pickle. So it's very interesting. Also, one person, he went to medicine. He's a surgeon, and in his personal statement, he's written like this: "My first dream job was to be a pickle truck driver. I saw it in my favorite book, Richard Scarry's Cars and Trucks and Things That Go. And for some reason, I was absolutely obsessed with the idea of driving a giant pickle. Much to the discontent of my younger sister, I insisted that my parents read us that book as many nights as possible so we could find gold bug, a small little golden bug on every page. I would imagine the wonderful life I would have being a pig driving a giant pickle truck across the country, chasing and finding gold bug. I then moved on to wanting to be a Lego master, then an architect, then a surgeon. Then I discovered the real gold bug, gold nanoparticles that can reprogram macrophages to assist in killing tumors, produce clear images of them without sacrificing the subject, and heat them to obliteration. Suddenly the destination of my pickle was clear. So you see here also descriptive language. Author doesn't tell, author shows us, and he makes connection with his childhood dream and nowadays that he's a surgeon. Actually, this is personal statement. He wanted to apply for further studies in medicine in the United States, you see. So also from this paragraph we can understand that he is also combating with cancer, yeah? Because killing tumors. So tumor is something when something that appears when people have cancer, I think. So this is also a very good example. Also, he doesn't tell us what conclusions to draw. We, as a reader, from this can understand what kind of person is he. You see, he is a dreamer. He's a person that thinks out of the box. He's independent, and he doesn't afraid to be strange or to sound strange or something like this. He is very determined person, I think, deliberate, and has his own viewpoint. You see, from just this small 4-5 sentences, we made so many conclusions about this person, and of course he could arise interest in me as a reader. So that's it. And here too, here common app escape prompts I wanted to share with you about this. Escape prompts like this: some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent so meaningful they believe the application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, please share your story. So you see, also we can write to one of them, and several. Second, the lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect, and what did you learn from the experience? If you have such kind of, you also may write to this second prompt. And the third, reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted you thinking? What was the outcome? You see, this. No, second, it's mostly to those people like before we read the one about finding the voice with such impairment. Is something wrong with them, and then they overcame obstacles connected to their health and well-being, I think. And first about background, identity, or maybe third, and from your whole life you should find really important and some interesting stories that could affect your later being, you see. So, Sema, this is everything what I wanted to tell you. This is about not the form of the essay, but mostly the approach of writing an essay. You see, I'd like you to use this approach of showing, approach of not just telling, you see, because I work how many years? Decade and a half, 1.5 decade. Yeah, I am working with people, and even those who finished Miraz, Halle Berry, Niche, and like these schools. When they want to enter university, they can't write personal statements or essays. They write it, but they are very poor because they don't know this approach. So I think if you understand this approach and could implement it in your writings, you will be just perfect student. Firstly, at first maybe it sounds like it's a little bit difficult, but later when you manage to write a really awesome piece of writing, so you will say for yourself, wow, I did it. You see, so this work is worth doing. Okay, thank you, good luck.